this one go live already. I'm gonna send the link to the one you made model for him on that one. I don't think anyone's gonna go on that one. Just, I guess keep an eye on it.
Am I able to look at it on my phone also?
You can on your personal phone.
My cousin's trying to push his luck again tomorrow for pre-sale for the second date and see if we can get a ticket and
They opened
Yeah,
another
April
date?
1st, yeah. Yeah. And pre-sales tomorrow, artist pre-sales tomorrow at 10 a.m. So he's gonna try again. And then buy a ticket and sell it for double and make his money back.
I see it announced another date.
Yeah. I mean, it's on Ticketmaster. But people are saying, like, what if it's an April Fool's joke? But that's just so messed up. Water. I heard that there was a lot of applicants for like game desk assistant. And my roommate was doing some events and she would tell them like every time a new person would come in, like send them to the room for an interview. She says it's like the whole day, like one of the days last month. And I was like, imagine like for game desk assistant at the library, like for the game center. The new one, yeah. Because they do their interviews like in person. Like, that was people in person. Yeah. And I guess she said that maybe they didn't cap the amount of applications. That's a lot of people. My cousins are trying to find a job on campus. They're telling them like, maybe not this semester, but a lot of people are about to be graduating.
Yeah, usually if the positions open up like after spring semester's over.
Yeah, because well, my roommate's graduating. I think the other person that's the events desk is also graduating. So I told my cousin, I was like, we're going to sit down with this again. Really? Yeah. I'm going to start this one right up. Bro, I get all my news from Rap TV. I haven't read about this in my journalism class. I was going to get your news. I felt really embarrassed on Instagram. But it says FBI warns California on drone strikes. I keep getting TikToks that are like, not me though, right? Like people making jokes. It's like, whoa, maybe it was not a joke right now. I'm streaming on ASI, right?
Yeah, ASI. ASI goes.
Make sure I'm right. Oops. But that's what it was logged into already. When I put on.
Yeah. At the time.
Oh. Wait, what do I do?
But it's like executive candidate for 2026 executive candidate.
Wait, ASI first or 2026?
2026 executive candidate.
Oh, so don't say ASI?
You put ASI.
stand up for this. Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to the audio just
Oh, to make sure.
to figure out it sounds. Come back and tell you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Before we get started, I wanted to give a few announcements and provide an overview of what to expect for the evening. First off, voting for the ASI elections will open on Monday, March 16th at 12 a.m. and will close Thursday, March 19th at 11:59 p.m. There are several ways for students to access their ballot online. There will be a tile added to all CSULB sign-ons that says ASI elections vote here. Additionally, all students will be emailed a link to the ballot. Students may begin voting once they have followed the link and read the welcome page. You can learn more about the candidates running for the Student Government Office by visiting our ASI election website at asiculb.org/elections. There you'll find all candidates, their biographies, and campaign platforms, as well as the link to the ballot. All students who vote will be entered into an opportunity drawing to win some really exciting prizes, including Apple AirPods, an iPad, Disneyland tickets, concert tickets, digital cameras, gift cards, and so much more. So make sure you cast your vote in the 2026 ASI elections from March 16th through 19th. Now, onto our main event, the Executive Candidate Debate co-hosted by the Long Beach Current. We will begin with the debate for Vice President of Finance, followed by the debate for the position of Executive Vice President, and ending the debate with the position of ASI President. At the start of the debate for each position, all candidates will have an opportunity to give a 60-second opening statement introducing themselves and their platform. All candidates will be asked the same questions, alternating which candidate responds first after each question. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond. After all candidates have answered the same question, you'll proceed to the next one. At the end of the debate, all candidates will be given a chance to give a 60-second closing statement. The first students at the event today were given a raffle ticket to redeem a special LB t-shirt at the end of the event, so make sure to redeem your shirt at the check-in table once we're finished. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our moderator for tonight, a senior majoring in journalism at Long Beach State. He works as the Arts and Life editor for the Long Beach Current. Please join me in welcoming Delfino Camacho.
Hello, thank you and good evening. We will begin with the position of President of Finance. Candidate Destiny Garcia, please take the stage. Candidate Itzel Puerta, please take the stage. Candidate Wasi Mahim, please take the stage. Candidate Jaden Sandstorm, please take the stage. As stated, the candidates will have the opportunity to make a 60-second opening statement. Candidates, please make sure to maintain your statements to 60 seconds. I will respectfully cut in and move on to the next candidate when the 60 seconds have. Candidate Destiny Garcia, your opening statement, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Destiny Garcia and I'm running for ASI Vice President of Finance. I'm a junior majoring in economics with a minor in finance. My background has given me a strong foundation in how financial systems work, but more importantly, it taught me the responsibility that comes with managing other people's money. Growing up in foster care showed me how important access, guidance, and community are to success. Because of that, I care deeply about making financial systems clear and approachable. As VP of Finance, I will prioritize transparent funding, equitable budgeting, responsible use of student fees, and long-term financial stability. I want students to understand how their money is being used and to feel confident that it's being managed thoughtfully and responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Garcia. Candidate Itzel Huerta, your opening statement, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like everyone in this room, at the end of the day, I am a student just like you. I wanted to understand a little more about where our finances went, the tuition increase, where is the money really going to, and is it really going back to us as students? I, like many of you, may be rushing for the shuttle after it's already at max capacity, and I've also had to budget for my supplies, art supplies, textbooks, and so much more. I decided to join SOAR to connect more with the incoming students and allow them to reach out to the resources we have on campus, from camps and so forth. I've applied as Dakota Senator to advocate for my artists and my fellow artist community. And now I am here as the chair of the Business and Finance Committee, advocating for your rights, your finances, and remember, with itself, your finances will excel.
Thank you, Candidate Puerta. Candidate Wasim Mahin, your opening statement, please.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Wasim Mahin, and I'm running for Vice President of Finance because this role demands more than promises. It demands preparation. As a current ASI Business Office representative and a double major in Management Information Systems and Accountancy, I work directly with student organization budgets, transactions, and financial procedures every day. I've seen how funding decisions shape campus life from student events to organizational growth. The Vice President of Finance must ensure that student resources are managed responsibly, allocated fairly, and handled with transparency. That requires real experience and a clear understanding of how our financial systems operate. I'm not running to learn the role. I'm running because I'm prepared for it. I'm ready to lead with accountability, professionalism, and commitment to serving every student effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Mahin. Candidate Jaden Sandstorm, your opening statement, please.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Jaden Sandstrom. I'm a third-year business finance and management major. I'm part of various organizations on campus, and I'm really excited about the prospect of being able to take a larger role on campus where I can better serve the CSULB community. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. We will be moving on to the questions. As stated, I will ask the question and then I will refer to the candidate who sets an answer. As chair of the Business and Finance Committee, you oversee the ASI budget and student fee allocations. What guiding principles would shape your financial decision-making, especially during a period of campus transition and construction? Candidate Destiny Garcia, your response, please.
I definitely want to make funding as transparent as possible, and especially understanding a student's, especially my frustration with our student fees going to something that most of us will not get to enjoy. So just having that in the back of my mind and seeing how I can benefit the current students as well as the future students.
Thank you. Candidate Itzel Puerta, same question.
Could you please repeat the question?
Of course. As chair of the Business and Finance Committee, you oversee the ASI budget and student fee allocations. What guiding principles would shape your financial decision-making, especially during a period of campus transition and construction?
I will always want to lead with honesty and transparency. As I mentioned, I understood that a lot of the fees were going into the USU University renovations, but being a part of ASI has allowed me to see that there's actually subcategories. So they are going not only into the USU renovation, but also the gym, as well as the Pups and Cubs resort, Meet the Candidates event we had today, and the boba, and even the big event of every semester, the beginning semester that we have, Summer Sport. So I will always want to lead with transparency with our students on where these funds are going to. I would love to have 15-second videos where students are able to learn and be more educated on where the funds and what the behind the scenes are on the process. I just really want to ensure students feel heard and included in the decisions that I make, because at the end of the day, I am representing the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Wasim Mahin, your response, please.
Budget preparation should be strategic and student-centered. I would begin by analyzing past financial data to identify trends and areas of improvement. Then I would actively engage with student leaders, the USU, the WC boards, and all other departments to ensure funding priorities reflect student needs. Collaboration is key, so aligning financial planning with campus engagement, wellness initiatives, and essential services while maintaining fiscal responsibility is what I'm aiming for.
Candidate Jaden Sandstorm, your response, please.
Yeah, so I think that it's really important that while we're making decisions that we're always involving the student body in them. I think that with growing concerns around where our fees are being used, we really need to make sure that we're involving the student body more than ever, because students just don't think feel very involved with how campus decision making is going. And I think when it comes to funding for clubs and organizations, that we really need to make sure that we're trying to support all organizations equally, because at the end of the day, organizations are really the heart of campus. So many students are able to find their passion and find so many people that have a lot of the same passions as them. So we need to make sure we're just supporting students always when making any type of financial decision.
Moving on to the next question. Students frequently question where their ASI fees go. What specific steps would you take to improve transparency and to make ASI's financial information more accessible and understandable? Candidate Itzel Huerta, your response, please.
As I mentioned, one of the ideas that I have is beginning an initiative of being more active on social media. I would love to have either a TikTok as well as an Instagram to get the information in a really short video that would allow students to easily understand the process, which can be very, very difficult if you do not already have previous knowledge. As an art major, I've been able to learn so much just from being behind the scenes, and I truly believe that any student can learn if we just take the time to break down the difficult concepts. Another idea I had once I reached out to a student that did not have social media is by actually beginning to send out regular emails to the whole student body. That way everyone would have access to that information, because at the end of the day, we are all impacted by finances. I really want to ensure that all of our students feel included, and these are just two of the many ideas I would love to continue working on if elected.
Candidate Mahi, your response, please.
So transparency builds trust. I would advocate for structured financial updates shared regularly in a clear and digestible format. Rather than complex reports, I would focus on simplified summaries that highlight key allocations, major expenditures, and financial returns. And I plan to use social media to spread this knowledge to all the students on campus. Additionally, I would ensure open communication with the Senate, so financial discussions remain collaborative and informed, and we can provide the best service to students.
Candidate Sandstorm, your response.
Working for student media, I've seen like how many different avenues and ways we can communicate with the student body. And I know that a lot of the information from our finances is on the ASI website now under our operating budget, but I just don't think that it's very digestible for students or student friendly. So I think I really want to explore a lot of different mediums to be able to just communicate all of this information with students as simply as possible, and really just kind of start dialogue with students on if funds are being used the way we all feel they should be used.
Candidate Garcia, your response, please.
As my other candidates have said, information is out there, but it is really hard to access or just kind of tedious to get to. What I would like to do is email the information, have printed copies of the ASI office, pamphlets, make myself available to go through the budget with students, and just make sure that everything is as transparent as possible.
Moving on to the next question. Grant and funding requests from student organizations can increase during times of limited space and resources. How would you ensure fair, policy-driven, and equitable funding decisions? Candidate Mahi, your response, please.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Of course. Grant and funding requests from student organizations can increase during times of limited space and resources. How would you ensure fair, policy-driven, and equitable funding decisions?
So, through my experience working with student organization transactions, I understand where confusion often occurs, but I still want to understand that students are the ones who should be making these decisions. So, whenever the funds are in crunch, we can always refer back to students. We can make social media posts asking them, okay, so these are the options that we have. Which ones do you want to see on campus? What kind of fundings do you want to see for the clubs? And based off what the students vote, we can decide where the funding can go.
Candidate Sandstorm, your response, please.
I think that for funding, we really need to involve the student body more and where their finances are going and what gets cut. I think a reason that a lot of people are really frustrated with the Future U project is because students didn't feel very involved in the project overall, and they think that that funding would have been better allocated to other resources on campus. So I really think we just need to do a better job at making sure that the student body is all on the same page with where we think funding may need to be cut or where it should be we need additional funding.
Candidate Garcia, your response, please.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Grant and funding requests from student organizations can increase during times of limited space and resources. How would you ensure fair, policy-driven, and equitable funding decisions?
For a student organization, I would see their previous records, see how much funding they've previously gotten, how long the organization has been standing, how much involvement they have with the student body, how many other students are actively participating, and then base my financial decisions on that.
Candidate Huerta, your response, please.
Could you repeat the question one more time, please?
Of course. Grant and funding requests from student organizations can increase during times of limited space and resources. How would you ensure fair, policy-driven, and equitable funding decisions?
Thank you. I currently sit on the Business and Finance Committee as the chair, so I have worked alongside our current VP of Finance, and we have had numerous applicants come through, some requesting a really large amount, and we do have requirements that we abide by. If it is past a certain amount that they're requiring, we are only allowed to distribute 75, and then from there 70, from there 60%. We are actually looking into editing these guidelines because we do want to ensure that every organization at least gets some sort of money. So that is one of the things that I will definitely work towards, being able to make it fair and seeing what organizations, the details from the past, how much money have they received. If it's a new org, we always want to give them a chance. And at the end of the day, we always are not the only resource. Our job is to also connect them to other resources, whether in colleges or other opportunities, so they can always get the help that they need, even if it isn't just from ASI.
Moving on to question 4. With the USU under construction, some students feel they are paying for services they cannot fully access. How would you address concerns about the student fees and demonstrate the continued value of ASI investments? Candidate Sandstrom, your response, please.
Yeah, so kind of like what I was saying, I think a lot of students are just really upset with the Future U project, and I know that administration says that we have all the resources from the Future U allocated to different parts of campus, taking some off campus, but I just don't think it's the same thing. You know, having a hub in the middle of campus where it has all these resources, I think really build a sense of community on campus, and I think we definitely are missing that, even with the same services relocated to other places. So I think we just need to do a better job at trying to build more community with different events and different things that can really bring together a large amount of people. And I also think that even with that, I still think that there's a lot of things we can do with clubs and organizations to just try to bring back more beats pride.
Candidate Garcia, your response, please.
So like many other students, I'm also frustrated with the USU, and I would like to see if I could take some of the student fees and allocate them to more events on campus so we do have more of a sense of community. Along with that, with the vendors on campus, if they have to pay a fee to be on campus, I would like to see if I could take some of the student fees and allocate it to that. So price of food on campus isn't as expensive and students can have cheaper options now that USU is gone. Thank you.
Candidate Huerta, your response.
Can you repeat the question, please?
With the USU under construction, some students feel they are paying for services they cannot fully access. How would you address concerns about student fees and demonstrate the continued value of ASI investments?
Throughout the 2 campaigning days we had this week, I was actually able to explain to a couple of students that the USU fee increase is actually, there's so many subcategories to it, and we've actually been working on naming it because that money actually goes towards the gym, towards these activities. If you have heard of our spring concert, it goes into that, as well as Smorgasbord, our carnival at the beginning of every fall semester. We, the students, are still able to see our tuition money and being able to make the most out of it. I do believe that transparency goes a long way with having the fee being called the USU fee. It misguides us to believing that we are investing in something in the future that we will never see, when in reality, we are investing in our present experience in the now. So I definitely want to be able to have these sit-down conversations, like today at the tabling events, being able to ask these questions to students. Where do they feel like they haven't been heard or presented? And being able to take input, whether it be about food, about activities, and so much more to make sure you guys feel heard.
Thank you, Candidate. Candidate Mahin, your response.
So firstly, we can hold campaigns to let the student know where the money goes, like the events we have, grants we provide to the students, and the overall functioning for the campus and ASI. Also, as mentioned before, transparency will always help with lowering the chaos that's happening. And a very big thing is naming it as student union dues confuses people because student union lines up directly with USU. So we can rename it to something like student life fees or ASI dues, something that gives a better idea of what it's spent on.
Thank you. Moving on to the 5th and final question. Collaboration between the VP of Finance, the President, and the Executive Vice President is essential for major financial decisions. How would you approach disagreements regarding budget priorities? Candidate Garcia, your response, please.
In my background, being a foster kid, I have definitely been forced to interact with a lot of people whose ideas and beliefs I don't interact with. And what that taught me is that sometimes you can be in the wrong and that's completely okay, or you honestly just might not even think of something. And so I would definitely try and keep an open mind and value their opinion. But I'm also a very strong-minded and strong-willed person. So I would like to stick to my beliefs while still keeping an open mind.
Candidate Puerta, your response.
During my time here, I have had the opportunity to work with a variety of students, and I am always welcoming different ideas that may vary from my own. With that being said, being able to hear different perspectives will allow me to not only gain a wider understanding of what the other ideas that may be out there, or may be able to help me solidify my own. At the end of the day, I believe this is a win-win because working collaboratively isn't just limited to the execs, it's including all of you. Everyone here, we are representing you, and I want to be able to open up the floor so everyone here can be able to give recommendations, requests, and maybe even like suggestions where maybe I could definitely be improving in a work area where you feel like I should definitely be improving in. I want to welcome every idea and suggestion with an open mind because that is the only way we are going to be able to really work together and be able to form a stronger foundation here at Casa Long Beach.
Thank you. Candidate Maheen, your response, please.
Could you repeat the question?
Collaboration between the VP of Finance, the President, and the Executive Vice President is essential for major financial decisions. How would you approach disagreements regarding budget priorities?
So firstly, working with the Vice President and the President is pretty important. I will always like their feedback on stuff that I will approve or deny. However, I feel like all of our motives line up with what the students want. And so I would take the utilization of social media to get feedback from students. I also would like to work with the Senate, people from USU, SRWC, and we want to have a collaborative environment where we understand everyone's perspective and then make decisions based on the best case scenario.
Candidate Sandstrom, your response?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Collaboration between the VP of Finance, the President, and the Executive Vice President is essential for major financial decisions. How would you approach disagreements regarding budget priorities?
So I think that disagreements can really be a good thing in a way because I think it really allows us to be able to collaborate more on different issues and to really make sure we're making a more informed decision when we're doing anything with finances. I also think that it's also a good way to just really kind of just slow down before we do anything rash or anything quick and make sure that we're doing everything to serve the student body because at the end of the day, all three of you all want the same thing and you might just have different versions of what that looks like. But you can always accomplish more as a team than you can by yourself. So it's always good to just collaborate and just kind of debate different issues that you might think a little bit differently on.
Thank you, candidates. You will now have the opportunity to make a 60-second closing statement, beginning with candidate Puerta. You're ready for your statement.
Although I am an art major, I have learned so much this past year as the chair of the Business and Finance Committee, and I want to take this opportunity to not only encourage other students that may not be business or finance majors, but to also inspire. In a year, there may be a dance major applying for an ASI position. Us as students deserve access to all of these resources, and the truth about it is that we just don't know that they're there. I really want to push for exposure, for better transparency, better advocacy, and overall stronger representation that you all deserve. And remember, with Excel, you will excel. Thank you.
Candidate Maheen, your 60-second closing statement.
At the end of the day, the position comes down to trust. Trust that your student funds are being managed responsibly. Trust that your student decisions are being made with integrity. Trust that your Vice President of Finance understands the system they are leading. Through my work in the ASI Business Office, I gain first-hand knowledge of how our financial processes function and how critical, carefully oversight truly is. I understand the responsibility that comes with this role, and I'm ready to carry it. If you want leadership rooted in experience, transparency, and accountability, I would be honored to earn your vote. Let's ensure our student resources work for all of us. Thank you.
Candidate Sandstrom, your response?
Working with so many different student organizations on campus, like the Long Beach Current, University Honors Program Student Association, and ASI, I feel like I've really gotten a chance to just meet so many different people and just hear so many different perspectives from everyone. And I'm really excited about the idea to kind of just take everything I've learned and apply it to like a bigger position in student leadership, where I can impact the student body more than ever before. And I also think that it's really important that we all really like come together and just vote on whoever we think is the best representative for the university, because this is a great time to just be able to say your voice and say what you think should be able to happen on campus.
Candidate Garcia, your closing statement.
The Vice President of Finance is entrusted with something incredibly important, your money, and I don't take that lightly. My background has taught me the value of every opportunity and every resource. I understand what it means when access is the difference between participation and exclusion. If elected, I will lead with integrity, accountability, and transparency. Growth happens when students feel supported and empowered, and I want to help create the environment here at Cal State Long Beach. I would be honored to serve as your Vice President of Finance. Thank you, and I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you, candidates. Next up, we have the position of Executive Vice President. Candidate Samantha Valdez, please take the stage. The candidate will have an opportunity to make a 60-second opening statement.
Hello everybody, my name is Samantha Valdez. I'm super excited to be running for this role. I am a business marketing major in the second year right now. A couple things I hope to do in this role is bring a night market and just create a community on campus and make sure students know that they know their senators at large and the senators that represent their college in each major, and make sure that students know where their resources and community is on campus.
Thank you. Moving on to question 1. As chair of the Senate, what legislative priorities would you set up to reflect the current concerns of students this year? Candidate Valdez, your response.
Yes, a lot of concerns I see are students struggling with making sure they have resources in order to take exams, in order to study, in order to be able to do well academically. I really want to open up a space for students to study for later times. The Horn Center, as I know myself in the library, do close at very early times. And just during finals, they are open very late. But during midterm season right now, students do struggle to find a space on campus to study. And I also want to add legislation through Senate, because we all do take exams. The one thing that we all do have in common are taking those exams. I want to bring a no Scantron legislation to campus. There is a free thing that the CSULB does pay for. Teachers only have to print it out. It'll replace Scantrons. It's easier for teachers to grade as well. It's free for teachers and students, and it takes off that ease for students having to have a Scantron during those exams.
Question 2. The Senate serves both as representatives of the student body and as the board of directors for ASI. How would you navigate decisions when student interest and corporate responsibilities appear to conflict? Candidate Valdez, your response.
Yes, I feel like I've done this in my role right now as your board of trustees. There's a lot of uproar with this future U construction, and a lot of the times we see students upset, and me and myself, I feel like the fees itself are not for the students representing right now. That pushback has gone me, myself, and the board to reflect and see what resources we can advocate for students, and see what our fees do pay for now, and how we can allocate for students to reach those resources as of now.
Question 3. Many students are unaware of what the Senate does or how legislation impacts them. What strategies would you implement to increase visibility and student engagement with Senate actions?
Yeah, I would meet with each one of our senators to see which specific goals they want to represent for their college. Doing events that speak out to each community, seeing where students find themselves in each college will be my main priority. Doing tabling and surveys to see what students really want within each college, and then bringing that back to see what we can do with that.
Question 4. Underrepresented communities sometimes feel disconnected from the governance process. How would you strengthen communication between senators and the diverse constituents they serve?
Could you repeat the question?
Underrepresented communities sometimes feel disconnected from governance process. How would you strengthen communication between senators and the diverse constituency that they serve?
Yeah, I think it's just putting a face to the name, making sure that students know who their senator is and senator at large, and seeing what community they can specifically represent. A lot of the times in ASI, you have to go through a lot of other positions on campus to see where we can find change and find that answer for students. So being in ASI, I've seen that backhand and see where students can get resolutions and make sure that the majority of the students know what ASI represent, especially their senators.
Moving on to the 5th and final question. Shared governance is central to ASI's mission. How would you ensure that student voices remain active and influential on university-wide committees?
Yeah, I think just asking students how they feel in general. I feel like the current has done a lot of that, of seeing responses on the students and how they feel about the future you. I think it's really important just to hear student feedback, even if it's something we don't like to hear or something we can't really change. I think it's really important to hear student feedback and see where we can meet grounds with them, meet in the middle, or completely take their input and make change on that.
Thank you, candidate. The candidate will now have an opportunity to make a 60-second closing statement. Candidate Valdez, your statement.
Yes, I'm just really honored to be up here speaking in front of all of you. I hope to see everybody soon again and meet with all of you if you have any concerns, and I'm just really excited for this position.
Thank you. We will be taking a 5-minute break, and when we return, we will continue with the position of ASI President.
Yeah, I'm honestly going because I want to talk for
We will be commencing with the position of ASI President. Candidate Sunny Kiamba, please take the stage. Candidate Nathan Garcia, please take the stage. Candidate Asriam Hernandez Rodriguez, please take the stage. Once again, the candidates will have the opportunity to make a 60-second opening statement. Candidates, please make sure your statements remain 60 seconds. Candidate Sunny Kiamba, your opening statement, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Sunny Chiampa and I serve as the current ASI president. And throughout my first term, I led through our campus through the utter closure of our USU, which is the largest transition our campus has ever faced. During my first term, I made one priority clear: to meet our students where they are and really listen to our students. When students told me they had limited activities to do on campus, I responded by recreating our homecoming entirely. Rather than spending my days in the office, I chose to engage with our students, successfully getting suggestions from nearly 600. And through my advocacy efforts, we added hundreds of seats to our campus. My plan for next year is simple: keep our students engaged with this USU closure. By creating stronger partnerships with our cultural resource centers and clubs, we can ensure that our students remain engaged. Launching Club Fest will be an essential step I take to keep our students engaged during this challenging time that they're about to face ahead. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Garcia and I am a second-year biology major, and the reason why I'm running is because it all started a few weeks ago almost, or 2 months or so, and I asked a lot of my friends and I asked them, do you guys know what ASI is? And I kid you not, there wasn't a single one who knew what I was talking about. They really thought I made it up on the spot. So ASI needs to become more transparent and accountable, especially when student fees are on the line. And I'm also going to push for parking equity reviews, and I'm going to make sure to continue strong support and protection for our undocumented students.
Candidate Rodriguez, your opening statement.
Hello everyone, my name is Asriam Hernandez Rodriguez. I'm currently serving as your ASI Chief Justice. I'm in my second year as a political science major with a minor in communication studies. As Chief Justice, I oversee grade appeals and academic integrity disputes on campus, so I'm all about protecting student rights. In addition to being Chief Justice, I've served on campus as a SOAR leader, where I've helped welcome over 11,000 students to campus. So I'm very familiar with our diverse campus community. I absolutely love working with students. And if it wasn't for my experiences working as in SOAR, I wouldn't know about over half the resources that we have on campus, which I think is unacceptable. So within my role as ASI president, I would love to bring more awareness to our resources, including ASI. We do so much work when it comes to making decisions that affect the entire student body. And as ASI president, I would ensure that students do feel represented in all decision making that is impacting them, especially as we navigate the future U construction.
Thank you, candidate. Question 1. As president, you interview and appoint the rest of the ASI student leadership, including cabinet, lobby corps, and judiciary. What qualities will you prioritize when appointing leaders, and how will you ensure the student governance reflects the diversity and needs of the student body? Candidate Champa.
Yeah, so when I'm looking to appoint students, I don't just look for someone who's involved, I don't look for someone who's not involved. Instead, I look for someone who brings a passion, a dedication, and a care to serve student government. That's what it's all about. I recently appointed, a long time ago, my chief diversity officer, and he had no experience in ASI at all. And he ended up being one of the best we've ever had in all of ASI. And so it's stuff like that. Students need people in the roles who actually care, who want to deliver, and who really want to serve the student body. Because that's what it's about. That's what it's about to be in student government, to serve your students and put those students first. When I would do it again, I would do the exact same thing. My priority is simple: appointing someone who cares about the students, but not just someone who cares about the students, but someone who understands the time that we're in right now. Our USU is closed. That is a big, important thing going on with our students. We need someone who's ready to engage and someone who's ready to take action to make sure our students feel happy during this transition time, and that's what I would do.
Candidate Garcia, your response.
So most importantly, I'm going to look for very good qualities. I'm going to ensure that these people that I pick that they have the capabilities, of course, and they're committed to the role and the expectations that they need to meet. But most importantly, I need to make sure that these people are not going in just for the position, but to put students first. Especially right now, we're going through a very rough time with the student union, and many students are frustrated because, well, we can't go to the student union no more, and we need to come up with solutions. And I need to find and pick the right people for the right time.
Candidate Rodriguez, your response.
So as Chief Justice, I've gotten the pleasure to oversee our Judiciary Board, and I've done a great job picking out my associates. I always get told that my board is the most passionate, the most outspoken board, and I absolutely want to bring that spirit to the rest of ASI. For chiefs, I really look for students that have the same student-centered values, that are willing to collaborate and work amongst each other in a team. I also want students that want to work towards our shared mission of keeping students first. I think when you pick student leaderships who have similar passions and the same mission in mind, we can really work collaboratively to make sure that we are addressing student concerns systematically and efficiently.
Thank you. Question 2. Student life has shifted significantly during USU construction. How will you work across departments and campus partners to maintain a strong sense of community and belonging? Candidate Garcia, your response, please.
Could you repeat it again?
Student life has shifted significantly during USU construction. How will you work across departments and campus partners to maintain a strong sense of community and belonging?
Well, first, I need to make sure that everybody is involved and they're at least doing their part when it comes to their department or the role that they're in. So it's important during this time especially to make sure that these people in the positions that they're serving, that they're being held accountable for. And under my leadership, I will 100% make sure that they will be.
Candidate Rodriguez, your response.
So as ASI president, I really want to prioritize taking time to genuinely listen to student concerns from our various diverse campus communities. So some things I have in mind, I would love to host monthly town halls with our different campus resource centers, clubs, and organizations. That way I can really understand what the needs are for each prospective campus community. I also want to work towards making more engaging events and activities on campus. I know my slate is really passionate about bringing a night market to campus. Right now, not having a community hub, it's been really hard to have that sense of belonging on campus, and I think through innovative event planning such as the night market, we can really come together to have our student clubs and orgs out there so we can revamp that and rebuild that sense of beach pride that with future new construction has definitely not been seen on campus.
Candidate Camper, your response.
I think it's important that we talk about this topic because as ASI president, when students said they had nothing to do, I delivered. I brought back our homecoming entirely that wasn't even around for the past 10 years. I want to be something very, very clear about bringing student life and making student life and rebuilding it. As ASI president, I would make one priority clear, like I did in my first term, but even better. We have to go directly to our students. Our students are not going to come to us. We have to lead and go to them. And that's exactly what I would do. I hosted Future ASI President events, reaching out to students, getting suggestions from our students. We have to make it a priority to go to them because if we rely on them to come to us, they're not going to come to us unless there's free food. And so if I was given my time as a second-term president, my priority would be one clear: creating more events for our students to connect, like Club Fest, like we have cultural resource centers and clubs together. But also, we have to do a better job of promoting our ASI events because we have so many ASI events and nobody knows about them. And if I was re-elected, I'd make it a priority to make sure our students know about the opportunities that they have.
Moving on to question 3. Students often express confusion about the role and impact of student government. What is your vision for strengthening outreach and helping students understand how ASI serves them? Candidate Rodriguez, your response?
Yes, absolutely. So that is definitely a major point of concern that I myself have experienced. I've been involved in student advocacy since I started here at Cal State Long Beach, and the disconnect between students and their student government has only been growing. So in order to fix this and merge those gaps, I would really want to host town halls, like I said earlier, with our different campus resources and organizations so I can get a feel of what each campus community needs from us. I also want to strengthen our relationship and partnerships with student media, such as the Long Beach Current, so that students can always be stay connected and up to date with all the decision making that is ultimately impacting them. I would also want to make sure that we are creating suggestion portals, both online and in person, so students can feel as if they have a direct say in all the decisions that are impacting them. I think ultimately just doing more marketing and more outreach and making ourselves approachable and visible is what's gonna help us rebuild that trust with our students.
Candidate Campa, your response?
Perfect. So with the diffusion of ASI, I actually spoke with a student today. Many students still don't know what ASI is, and I think that's a big issue when we talk about ASI and our role in ASI. I think that as student government, and like I said during my first term, and what I did during my first term, in order to address those concerns, we have to be with our students directly. And I'm going to keep saying this all night long tonight. Students are feeling that there's a lack of campus community going on. How can we address those concerns? How can we tell people about student government if we're not there for our students in the first place? We have to visit the student organizations. I visited over 50 during my first term. In my second, I visit over 100. We have to be out there for our students. Meet Your ASI President is a perfect example of this. Being out there, getting suggestions from students so they understand what student government is. Because if students understand what student government is, then as student government leaders, we can get more stuff done for them. We can make a better campus for them. And I think that is the priority right now with the USU closure, is making campus better for our students. And if I was reelected, that's what I would do.
Candidate Garcia, your response?
Could you repeat the question?
Students often express confusion about the role and impact of student government. What is your vision for strengthening outreach and helping students understand how ASI serves them?
So, what I'm gonna do is that when I get into office, I'm going to create student open forums, and I think the press here, they're gonna love it. So you could go here and you could bring your questions and you could bring your concerns, and you could directly talk to either me or the VP or anybody who holds a position of importance, and you could directly bring your questions and your concerns. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't know where to go when I have a question or when I have a concern. So this is something really important, you know. Everybody wants to bring transparency and advocate for it, but nobody's doing anything about it. And the reason why nobody's doing anything about it is because it brings uncomfortability, right?
Thank you, candidates. Moving on to question 4. Food affordability and access remains ongoing concerns. In your role as Chief Executive Representative of Students, how would you advocate for solutions both within ASI and with campus administration? Candidate Campa, your response?
This is something we're actually working on right now, and I think it's continuing to have these conversations with different faculty members and different administration levels. We've had conversations about this multiple times. We talked about how we can create meal plans with students, how we can give them deals. On Subway, they're doing I think it's like this chip thing right now with the drink and stuff, but it's continuing to do that and pushing it forward and pushing it more and more and more. Because you're gonna have a lot of times where people are like, no, we don't wanna do this, we don't wanna make this happen. But I know this as ASI president now, so if I was reelected, I'd keep pushing it forward and keep making it a priority. And with the affordability of food prices, I think we have to continue to make it a priority that it is that food that is affordable to students, but also, I want to mention one thing that people don't really know about. They don't know that they have meal plans. They don't know that they can go to the dining halls and get these food options. We need to promote that more because it's not just about the food that's on campus, it's also the food that's in different areas of campus, and that's what I would do.
Candidate Garcia, your response?
Could you repeat the question?
Food affordability and access remain ongoing concerns. In your role as Chief Executive Representative of Students, how would you advocate for solutions both within ASI and with campus administration?
Well, of course, again, with the close of the student union, and we have these food trucks, and the food is great, don't get me wrong, but the prices, it's very expensive. The prices are very expensive. So we don't only need to work with ASI and administrators, but we need to work with the people who are selling us this expensive food, you know. So I'm sure they're getting a lot of business because there's a lot of students here who have no choice to eat there. So that's my take.
Candidate Rodriguez, your response?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with both of my members up here that food affordability has been a major point of concern this year for students. Some way that I would go about addressing this is that I would continue to advocate for food options to be available past 3 p.m. for our students. I know that the current options that we do have on campus are ridiculously overpriced and they close early, so it just leaves a lot of our students struggling. And food insecurity is an issue that affects students nationwide, and I don't want our students at Cal State Long Beach to fall behind. So I will continue to advocate in the meetings with administration to ensure that we are bringing affordable partners onto campus. I would also like to advocate for the creation of rewards programs so students that are purchasing food on campus can start getting discounts the more that they purchase, just making it more affordable. I know it's with the economic hardships that many of our families are going through right now, especially with the hike in student fees. Food affordability is definitely something that I would want to prioritize as a part of my platform.
Moving on to question 5. As the primary student representatives to university and city leaders, what issues would you prioritize when meeting with campus administration or local officials? And how would you communicate those efforts to the student body? Candidate Garcia, your response.
Well, again, I would bring up the student union because, well, maybe we need more funding or something when it comes to food because there's just too much things going on, and for sure, with a lot of the concerns, it has to be brought up to the big shots. We have to take it to the big administrators and our everybody else who has really the say when it comes to this kind of funding. Maybe we need to ask for more funding or more grants to really put the students first because they're calling it Project U, but they're not really including you. So it's very important right now to really figure out and put the students first right now.
Candidate Rodriguez, your response.
Yes, so as ASI president, I will continue to advocate for the support of resources that our students depend on to succeed. Right now in our country, the legitimacy of our academic institutions is constantly attacked and undermined, and the systems that we have in place ensuring equity in education are also being attacked. So as ASI president, I have the responsibility to protect and advocate for systems that protect the most vulnerable populations on our campus. Many students, such as myself, rely on financial aid and campus resources to be able to navigate higher education. So I think as president, I'm able to voice these concerns at Cal State Student Association committee meetings where I can talk and represent CSUOB directly to the CSU system-wide and legislative officials so we can ensure that our student needs are being addressed systematically.
Candidate Chiappa, your response.
I think first we got to know our students are concerned about first. So priority number 1 is meeting our students where they are and really asking them their concerns. But the second priority would be is to address issues that are going on right now on campus. Our undocumented students are still under threat. They're scared that ICE is going to come on campus. Our international students are struggling to get on this campus. I would advocate and push that forward. Not only that, our students still need areas to sit down just to study and have a space in a classroom. I mean, there's all these classes we have available, and we need to be pushing those study spaces forward. We need to be prioritizing the time that we're in right now. We need to be advocating for these cheaper food prices. We need to be doing a better job of adding more, seating on campus and continuing to do that. Because I realize that throughout my first term, I feel like I've done great, but the reason I'm running again is because I want to do even better during my second time. And I think with my partnerships and my stability, I believe that I'm the best man to really do this job and really get it done for our students when they're facing USU closure.
Moving on to the 6th and final question. As ASI president, you will set the tone for collaboration across the organization. If members of the executive team were not part of your slate, how would you foster unity and ensure productive working relationships despite potential differences? Candidate Rodriguez, your response.
Absolutely. So during my time in student advocacy, I have worked with students from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, and the diversity at CSUOB is truly the thing I cherish most about our campus. And relentless of who I'm working with in the office, as long as we can continue to serve our students and keep them first in decision making, I will be more than happy to work with anyone that comes my way. I think it's really important to maintain an open mind and be willing to work with others that may have different perspectives. I think that it will even allow me to grow myself as a leader and as an individual, and I look forward to working collaboratively with anyone that may come into office. I do realize that my slate members may not make it into office with me, but Relentless, I really do believe in what we're building and what we are standing for and believing in, and I will continue to advocate for that no matter who is in office with me.
Candidate Champa, your response.
I think it's about coming to common ground. And I was actually elected as ASI president. The vice president, executive vice president was a different slate, and the vice president of finance was a different slate. And so it's really about figuring out how to work together, learning each other's personalities, learning how to meet each other, but then also figuring out common ground on problems, because there might be different problems that students face. You'll find that you might have disagreements with people, like all kinds of disagreements, but it's really about learning how to work together, and I think that I have a previous experience in doing that and being able to find common ground and really being able to work together. And sometimes you might find that even if you might be elected with the team that you like, you might have disagreements with them as well. So it really just goes for any person that you're working with. You really have to learn how to come to common ground, but also at the same time have the best interest in representing students first. And if I was reelected, that would be my priority, is making sure we come to common ground, but also making sure that our students are prioritized first.
Candidate Garcia, the response.
Yeah, so most definitely, I know I have, or you two, have fabulous slates, and I know really, no matter what, who gets into office, we're gonna go in with the mindset to put students first. And imagine if we all agreed on the same thing. Something for sure would go wrong. Matter of fact, the student body would probably be a little unhappy. So I think it's our disagreements that will bring us closer. And really, despite who gets into office, I'm more than confident that we will do a good job when it comes to putting the student body first.
Thank you, candidates. The candidates will now have an opportunity to make a 60-second closing statement. Candidates, please make sure to keep your statements to 60 seconds. We'll begin with candidate Champa.
Yeah, well, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been really an honor to serve as your ASI president, and I know you might now be thinking, I've had this role once, so why the heck should you elect me again? In my life, I faced challenges growing up on the autism spectrum. I was a child that was never even supposed to talk, but yet I did anyway. People said it was impossible for me to be the ASI president during this time of transition, but I did that anyway as well. In this past year, I've led through utter chaos and still managed to make our student life better. And as ASI president, I bring a love and care to support our students, and all the work I've completed completely shows that. If re-elected, I will make one priority that we keep our students engaged for the next 2 years, prioritizing new events and creating existing partnerships and expanding those partnerships. Like I said before, construction doesn't define us, we define it. And now, let's shine at the beach.
Candidate Garcia.
So, the voter turnout is so incredibly low. It's less than 9%. And the truth, it's not fair for 3,700 students to elect our representatives. There's about 42,000 students that go here. With that being said, I promise you all that I will fight for you, and I will never give up, and that I will never rest until I fulfill every promise and every duty that ASI president has to carry in this office. And I promise that I will make ASI more transparent and involved and accountable, for sure, accountable with the student fees than ever before.
Candidate Rodriguez, your closing statement.
I want to start off by saying that I believe that students offer such a valuable perspective when it comes to the decision making that affects them. Students need to be in these rooms. Administrators will never know what it's like to be a student in today's day and age, and I really encourage all of you to participate in the systems that govern your lives. As someone who has been failed by systems that were put in place and meant to protect me, I want to run to ensure that students feel represented in every decision that impacts them, especially during this period of political and economic instability for a lot of our families. I know it's a really scary time, and a lot of us are uncertain of what our futures are going to look like, and I hope that as ASI president, I can help reassure you that your campus leadership is doing everything in their power to put you first. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Thank you all for attending. This concludes the 2026 Student Government ASI elections.
I hope you enjoyed